Welcome everyone to our Women in AI roundtable discussion. In honor of the Women's History Month today, we're bringing together an incredible group of women from Latent AI with different backgrounds, engineering, marketing, federal programs, and AI strategy to share their experience and insights and perspectives. We will explore some topics like navigating career transitions, the challenges and the opportunities of working in AI, where nearly every company operates like a startup. Our goal here is really to foster an open and thoughtful conversation about the reality of working in AI, highlight the ways that women are shaping the field, from engineering breakthrough to strategic leadership, and providing meaningful takeaways for those who are looking to grow their careers. With that, let's start with a quick introduction. I'm going to start with myself. My name is Tracy Cui. I'm an advisor at Latent AI, and where I focus on go-to-market strategies and helping scale AI adoptions. I'll give the mic to Kim.
Hi, I'm Kimberly Eng. I'm the marketing operations manager at Latent AI, and I help to drive and execute our marketing strategy. My background is a little unconventional, having come from outside of tech, but the problem solving and adaptability that I've gained have been key to my success at Latent AI.
Thank you, Kim. Natalia?
Hello, everyone. My name is Natalia. I'm embedded software developer in the compilers team. Well, what I really try to do, besides that role name, is to connect software, bring it to hardware, try to bridge those two things that have like kind of isolated places and connect them together.
Great. Thank you, Natalia. And Gautami?
Hi, everyone. My name is Gautami Langarkande, and I am a machine learning engineer at Latent AI. My role is both technical and customer facing, so I directly talk to the clients and help them understand how Latent AI's products can help them achieve their goals faster.
Very cool job. Thank you. Taylor?
My name is Taylor Schneider, and I am the Federal Program Manager here at Latent AI. So I manage all of our work once we're on contract to ensure that we're meeting our customers' needs and providing value on our federal contracts. My background is in the Navy. I was in the Navy for 8 years, and I'm still in the Navy Reserves. I did some education in analytics and machine learning, and I decided to transition into tech. So it's been really awesome to still apply my operational background in a tech environment.
Great. Cannot wait to hear more. And thank you very much for your service. And go Blue, go Navy, right?
Go Navy.
Yes. The last but not the least, the most important, Annika.
Hi, my name is Annika Sparrow. I'm an intern in the integrated systems team here at Latent AI, and I have been working to integrate LLM models into the benchmarking framework that we have. And then I'll also be doing some work within the integrated systems team more closely.
Very cool. Hey, thank you, Annika. And I think let's move to our very first topic. We want to talk about career transitions, as you hear from all of us, right? Have very unique career path. Let's talk about what motivates these shifts into the AI space. Taylor, do you want to start? What motivates you transition from the military to a defense company and then AI? What advice would you give to veterans looking into enter the tech industry?
Yeah. So I think first how I transitioned out of the military. My husband is active duty as well, so we were a dual male family, and we had a child and realized that we both probably wouldn't do great deploying at the same time, based on the work-life balance that we wanted to have for us and our child. So that's why I transitioned to the reserves, because I still wanted to stay involved in the community, but have a stable career where work at home and spend time with that family instead of deploying at the same time. So as I was thinking about that transition, I knew I've always been interested in the technical side of my work. In the Navy, I really loved analytics and looking at how we can employ technology to better our fighting force. And I did a lot of acquisitions work while I was still active duty. So I figured a good way to kind of round myself out. I went back to school, got my master's in business analytics. And while I was there, I was kind of surprised at the number of machine learning courses that were in my master's program. And I was like, wow, this is really cool. Like, this is super interesting. There's lots of ways that we could and should be applying this in the military. And that really motivated my desire to get into this field. I went to a large defense contractor, which was fantastic. I was able to apply some of the technical skills that I learned in my master's there, but I was really missing that like small team aspect that I got on my ships and in my recent roles in the Navy. And I knew I wanted a smaller company and to be surrounded by the same type of people who were super excited about their work and really motivated. And so I started looking for startups specifically in the tech realm. And that's how I ended up here. And I think I kind of bridged the gap of I have a technical foundation, but I'm not an engineer. And as far as advice for military people transitioning, I think the key thing is to not sell yourself short. I really struggled in my transition trying to convey to people the breadth and scope of work I did in a way that, one, was understandable, but two, applied to the fields that I wanted to get into. And I found myself trying to minimize some of the things that I did in the military, and that wasn't going to get me anywhere. So really think about the work that you've done and how it translates, and don't sell yourself short.
Thank you. Thank you for your advice. I think for the veterans who are looking at this video, definitely get a lot from what you have done and then inspired to be like you, especially the females. And I love that work-life balance thoughts too. And let's move to Kim. You came from a hospitality and farming background, which is very different, right? How did those experiences transfer you into working AI, and what are the transferable skills that help you make the switch?
So, as you can tell, my career path was not a straight line into AI, but a common thread. As I look back at my experience, it's always been working in fast-moving environments where I've had to adapt, think strategically, and execute efficiently. I started in an upscale contemporary restaurant in San Francisco, and that's where I learned customer experience, operations, how to handle high pressure situations. And then I co-founded my own farm-to-table restaurant in the Philippines, managing everything. So I did operations, HR, finance, brand building, all in a completely new and very foreign environment. And unfortunately, after just 1 year of operating, the pandemic hit, and so I had to rethink my career path. And so this led me to a small organic farm in New Jersey, closer to home. And that's where I was part of a very tight-knit team of incredibly hardworking women. There was one guy that worked there. And farming is obviously a whole other world from AI and startups, but you still have to problem solve on the fly, manage logistics in unpredictable conditions, and optimize your processes. So when I transitioned into tech, those same skills carried over really well. Thriving in the field of AI, to me, especially in a startup, it's about being resourceful, rolling with the punches, and figuring things out as you go. I didn't need to be an AI engineer. I just needed to know how to learn fast, understand a whole new space, communicate complex topics clearly, and help build a brand in an industry that's still defining itself.
Wow, thank you, Kim. And I love the entrepreneurial spirit, and that you are in the right place with the right group of people. And thank you. Natalia, and how does your industry background and the experience with the current and look with the current challenges of AI? Would you say there are different approaches in AI between Europe and the US?
Yeah, so I guess I will speak a little bit about my background. So I was working in the automotive industry, in the pharmaceutical industry as an embedded software developer, putting together parts of those systems. And I think even in those areas outside of AI, the importance of like coming from prototype to production sometimes is undervalued. Like you think like, okay, something is working and you are using immense amount of power or immense amount of like computing. And then when you want to put it in production, you have to optimize for that kind of different environment. And to do that, there is a lot of engineering and problem solving who comes to play. So I found Latent AI's product that was solving that in the AI space. So when I was invited 3 years ago to work here by my professor, who is now my boss, was like also a nice situation to happen to me. I realized like, okay, there is some very specific needs that I see in the industry that we can help with the state of the art AI to bring to production. So I think that is the main point that I bring. That is my flavor in the company. Now, Europe versus US. So I am fresh here in this country. I moved in June last year. It has been challenging for the normal reasons of moving continent. And now in the industry specifically, I think here it's so dynamic. And that was the reason why I wanted to come here. The competition, the concurrence, the amount of startups, or even now, not only startups working in this topic, it brings you farther and farther. And that is the flavor that it's very US-like. So things are moving fast. In Europe, is like, okay, prove me that like deterministic and like things are always gonna run and there is no mistake. They are a little bit more conservative, I would say. It's my opinion. So like bringing those two sides to the table at the time of making decisions, I think that's the other side of my flavor.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for that insight. Definitely welcome to this country. I think this country has so much opportunities for everybody, especially in the AI field. And Annika, you are transitioning from academia to industry. And what surprised you most about this shift? Are there any gaps between academic research and the real world applications of AI that you didn't expect?
Honestly, I would say that they're actually more similar than I would have guessed. So a lot of the time you're faced with a problem that hasn't necessarily been solved before in both fields. So you need to see what work others have done in similar spaces and what tools they've used before figuring out how to approach the problem yourself. In the exploratory work that I've been doing here particularly, the project specifications tend to be less rigidly defined than academic assignments that I've had in the past. So there's more responsibility in understanding the deliverables and making sure that you're creating what everyone wants to be produced.
Very cool. Again, best wishes to your continual career searching from that perspective. And I want to open up the floor to everybody as we reflect on our transitions. What the one piece of a career advice can you give to the younger yourself? I wish I would be younger, right? Or someone considering get into the AI space. Anyone just grab the floor, grab the mic.
I think I would tell my younger self, strap in. Career paths are rarely a straight line. I think the most important thing is to work smart and hard at whatever you do, because transferable skills are everywhere. And so by that, I mean, every job, no matter how unrelated it might seem, it teaches you something valuable. And so some of the most important attributes in any field, in my opinion, are reliability, resourcefulness, and tact. And so for me, I've always been someone who's preferred to stay quiet, just be diligent about my work. But I've learned that in order to move forward and ahead, you really need to find your voice. And it doesn't mean being loud. It's just a balance of like listening, but then also ensuring that you're heard. And if you can be the person who can figure things out, follow through and tackle challenges with a level head, I think you'll always be in demand no matter where your career takes you.
That makes sense. Thank you.
I think one piece of advice I would give to my younger self would be, especially me back in undergrad, I would have told myself, do more research, write more papers. With this changing industry, especially with the AI boom and with all the layoffs that are going on, it's very hard to stand out and to prove that you're capable engineer. So I wish I had written a lot more papers, published them, and done a bit more research.
You still can do it. Thank you.
True.
One thing, I want to validate one thing I actually did to my younger self, which was stick to the oldest person in the room, the most experienced guy. When I was a junior, I acted like a junior. So I went there and I asked the questions and I didn't hesitate to be the person who doesn't know. And that cultivated my soft skills as much as my hard skills, which resonates a lot with what Kim was saying. And I think that also brings a lot to the table in a room where people like, they say like, I'm a technical person, I don't like to talk or something like this. Well, it doesn't have to be that way. And I think that is also important.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, hopefully the oldest is the with the most experience, but sometimes the younger one also have a lot of experience too, right? So I get your point. And anyone else before we move to the next topic?
I think
Okay.
one thing
Yeah, go ahead.
is leveraging any experience you have that might be unique. So my background was in traditional linguistics as an undergrad, and I was more interested to move to technical work, as that's the sort of work that I prefer to do. But even still, I'm finding opportunities to use my unique background to, for example, bring LLMs into benchmarking here, and perhaps see perspectives that are not necessarily brought in from other backgrounds.
Yeah, that's a great example. Thank you, Annika. Yeah, before we close, I want to say from my experience, if I look at myself, one piece of advice I would give to myself, and it's really find myself a sponsor in my career instead of just having mentors. I had a lot of mentors, but I learned having someone who can help you develop the skills and also sponsor you in the workplace. That's super important. So with that, I'm going to move to the next topics. And many of us have worked in the startups and the large companies. How does being a woman in the tech differ in these environments, right? So let's talk about the startups versus the big tech. Taylor and Natalia, do you want to jump in?
The first thing that comes to my mind is there is a smaller number of layers. So the exposure that you get in any sort of normal meeting, it's huge. So when you have an idea and this idea has been like in your head and it's itching you, just say it. Because I think the differences are not that big in terms of like each person is looking for the same thing in big or a small company. So having a little bit of self-reflection about yourself, how you communicate to the others, how you sell yourself, your ideas, it's gonna work in both environments.
Yep.
I think I've seen two very dramatically different styles of leadership between the military and a startup. In the sense that in the Navy, the structure is very hierarchical, it's formalized. You have a chain of command, you have mostly very standardized processes, which are there for a reason, but are also like inherently slow and slow to change. Whereas at a startup, leadership is much more fluid and it's much more situational. And so, I've gone from like an environment where I I got my authority in some respect from my rank and my position, to an environment where you have to lead through influence and expertise, and your authority comes more from kind of your contributions to the team and your ideas and your vision, rather than just like inherently the position that you're put in, because your team is so small and that's just how it functions. And so it's very exciting to me. I do think it's obviously challenging, especially when you're at a small company, you're hiring people who are the experts in their field, and you are not, and you're in a room with those experts. So to what Natalia said, like finding that voice is really important, but it is also harder in this structure. And it's something that I think I've really learned and built a lot since being here.
Yeah, great. My own experience also working in one of the largest tech company. It's a well-established business, right? And sometimes we call it a machine. It has, a lot of structures, a lot of guidelines, a lot of resources as well, right? If you think about the startups that were, really small, nimble, and short resources, but that's also give you an opportunity to actually do a lot more, and then to not just sharpen skills, but also learn a lot much quicker, and then be more hungry, and I would say bring a lot of creativities and innovative of yourself, which you probably don't necessarily to think you have from when you're in the big tech. That's at least I feel like. So I enjoyed actually working in both environments, and think throughout the professional life, it would be great if you have experience on both sides. Definitely startup making me feel there are a lot of opportunities and contributions we can do. So I wanted to actually ask Kim, within Latent AI, you started the part-time and then shifted to marketing. What has helped you grow within Latent AI, and how have you managed those role changes?
Well, I think similar to what you were saying before, startups are a really incredible place for growth because you're constantly exposed to new challenges. There's no staying in one lane. You have to think strategically and also execute hands-on. So, like you said, I started part-time as an office manager at Latent AI 3 years ago, and then I moved into full-time operations within that year. And then in the past year, transitioned fully into marketing. And that kind of career progression happens in startups because there's room to take initiative, own projects, and expand your skill set. And I also have to give a lot of credit to my mentor at the company, Shelly. She leads the marketing at Latent AI, and she's been really instrumental to my growth, not just by leading by example, but she also trusts me to take ownership of marketing initiatives, and like this one, and trusts in me. So that trust and that support really has helped me step into a bigger role with confidence. And I think for women in any industry, mentorship isn't just about learning technical skills. It's also having someone that helps you navigate challenges, advocates for you, and recognizes your worth. And I think it's all too common, especially for women, to probably downplay our contributions or hesitate to advocate for ourselves in the workplace. But in any environment, whether it's startup or big conglomerates, I think you quickly realize that if you don't speak up for your value, then no one else will do it for you.
Yeah, that's true. Hey, thank you. Thank you, Kim. And, I do want to ask every one of you if you can share a project or achievement that you are particularly proud of, and how it contributes to advancing AI in your area of expertise. Again, since I'm, looking at Kim, maybe I can start with you.
I think I've been really proud of the latest website launch that we just accomplished. It's been a huge facelift. We've already seen a big uplift in visitors to the website, which means more people are finding out about us. They're staying longer at the website, so they're more interested in what content we have. And it was a really big team effort, which was exciting. So I got to speak to many different people across the team, and got to collaborate by having to produce a lot of content. So it was a really challenging project that involved a lot of moving parts, but it made the final piece that much more rewarding and exciting to experience.
That is very cool. And by the way, I love the new website. In case, the listeners or the viewers, you haven't, go visit, right, latentai.com. So, Annika, and you did mention about bringing an NLP into the computer vision focused work and benchmarking. Can you share a little bit more? I know, I've been involved, and I think, you are a critical part of this benchmarking we're doing right now.
Yeah, sure. So, with my background in linguistics and natural language processing, one of the main things I've been doing is helping to forge the intersection between large language models and the existing work on computer vision and other types of traditional machine learning models here at Latent AI, especially in the benchmarking framework. And I've been trying to add quality evaluation to that as well, which is something novel for that. And I've been able to apply my experience in that to expand the frontiers of what we can do with these types of models and what customers that we can talk to with these.
Yeah, thank you again for your contribution and a very cool piece of work. Taylor, Natalia, Gautami, do you want to jump in?
Something recently that I'm proud of is we've established a relationship with our large customer Army Linchpin on how we want to engage with operators and get their hands on our tools. I think a lot of the time that Latent AI has spent developing technologies has been it's been a lot of really amazing research by really, really smart people. And we need to ensure that that translates to those military members who will be using our technology. And so we really want to give them a voice in the process. And so it's been really cool to set that up and make sure that, like as somebody who would have been using this a couple of years ago, that like I'm able to advocate for the people who will be using our technology in their lives.
Yeah, very cool. Thanks.
Following up on what you said, Taylor, like that feedback then comes to us engineers, and then we get really passionate about like what can we easily fix any sort of like issue that the customer is having, or make it faster, make it more friendly. And on that note, the last release I think was a huge one for us as a compiler team. We brought up 2 different ways of compilation, 2 different ways of runtime, which are hidden for the customer. The customer doesn't need to care for them. And it looks like, it's like a Python API. You look at it, it's like, but the amount of work, and it was teamwork, it's really big behind it, and we are all proud of it. We are now even improving the way we could scale more this, and I think it makes me proud that we as a team were able to communicate and fulfill the deadline for that. It was a tough one.
Definitely. Thank you. I think you actually touch up on a topic which is close to all of us. It's AI. It's a fast moving and often require intense dedications, right? How do you balance the personal and professional life, especially in such a dynamic field? I want to start with you, Natalia, as a new mom. Congratulations. And can you share a little bit? How did you feel after coming back from maternity leave? And what can we do to help ease that transition?
Do we have enough time for what I have to say? No. Yeah, so I'm not anymore like a new mom. My daughter is already 20 months old, and time is a thief. It just happened, everything so fast. But I think just as I was saying, I'm very grateful of the team I have at work. I have a good team at home. So we were able to like come up with this decision of moving here to the US. And my husband is now like a houseman, how he calls himself. And now I go to work, and these roles are like a little bit unconventional, let's say. But the key in both worlds was communication. even communication about like what my concerns were about moving here and doing this big life change, to the latent AI leadership, explaining what are my concerns and getting, like certainty about coming has been like the ground of like, okay, this is there. This is the pillars which gives me, stability. And after that, we are like very flexible. And I think flexibility is the one thing that has helped me to just balance and not obsess on things like, okay, what could have I done better? And this is like maybe in every aspect of life important, because you need to let go of your mistakes. We all do mistakes. Let go, move forward. Kind of like this Dory style of thinking, like forget what just happened, move forward, look forward. Uh, and I guess that applies once you have the baby brain. You feel like I used to do this so easily, and now like I just cannot like connect the dots in my head. So I realized like be compassive with yourself, apply compassion to your everyday life, and the reward is huge. Like coming back home and seeing my daughter, I'm like, okay, I'm doing something that requires a lot of effort, but it's worth it.
Yep. Yeah, and being compassionate and then really stay positive. I think that's super key. So I think Taylor, you also did mention the reason why you made the transition. It was because the part as the work-life balance you and your husband were thinking. But then you jump into a startup. It's almost like a quick actions, a lot of things going on. So, and what leadership strategies have helped you integrate to your work-life balance? Can you share a little bit?
Yeah, definitely. I think work-life balance might have been the wrong descriptor. Both I meant being mostly being on land, not deployed at the same time, because it has been really hard. My husband was deployed last year. I also have a 2-year-old, so it's been pretty rough. But I will say that I think something that I learned from the Navy has been really helpful. We had watches where you did nothing besides drive the ship or employ the weapon system, but then you also had your other job, and your watch time rotated, but you still had to get your other job done. And I think that has kind of led me to preferencing more of a flexible schedule, and that's transitioned really well to having a child and who gets sick and things happen and my husband goes on deployment. I am very flexible with the time that I work. I don't hold myself to like 9 a.m. I must be sitting down, 5 p.m. I must get up. Like some days go longer. And I think it's been very helpful to be very clear with my team on like my expectations and my needs. And so like I'll block out my calendar for when I have personal commitments, but based on my performance and the work that I've done and the communication that I have, my team and my boss know like I'm not going to not do my work. Like I'll get it done when I can find those pockets of time that might not be within the standard work day. And that's been really helpful working from home as well in that capacity. And I think as far as leadership, just like holding yourself to a standard and making sure you get your work done, and then affording other people that benefit as well, knowing that they're probably dealing with other situations as well. So it's not to lower the bar, but it's to kind of allow a little flexibility in how you get to that bar.
Yeah, excellent. Thank you. Great piece of advice to everyone out there, right? So I want to also move to Gautami and, managing multiple hats in a startup. It's really hard. How do you balance the customer facing roles versus with the machine learning engineering tasks? Can you share your thoughts?
Sure. So in the integrated systems team, I work multiple roles. The first one is, of course, a machine learning engineer, where my day-to-day is building features, writing code, doing code reviews with my manager. On some occasions, I act as a business analyst, where I'm talking to clients, understanding their requirements, and also explaining in very layman terms on how the product works, and helping them understand how this feature is going to help them make their machine learning models run faster and so on. And on some occasions, I have to travel and go to conferences and speak to a large group of audience with diverse skill sets. So I have to dabble a little bit in sales as well. So since I'm doing all these roles, I think I have really learned to prioritize my tasks. So because it's mostly client facing, clients, their needs and requirements always come first. If they need an urgent need on like some assistance on some product, then I drop everything and send and focus on that. And it's also become a little bit hard because I have to manage my other day-to-day tasks, and I need to like finish my deliverables. But I have found a way to deal with that. I use to-do lists and I use Jira tickets. That has been very useful for me. And I sure. So in the integrated systems team, I work in multiple roles. On my day-to-day is working on code as a machine learning engineer. I have to build features, build demos. Sometimes I have to act as a business analyst where I have to talk to clients, understand the requirements, give presentations, and also explain in very layman terms on how the product works. Sometimes I have to travel and go to conferences. So I meet a large group of audience and with a diverse skill set. And so I have to dabble a little bit in sales as well. So since I'm like working on so many different things, I find it a bit difficult to prioritize, but I found a way now. Of course, as a client-facing role, the client's needs always come first and are the highest priority. At the same time, I have to manage on how my other day-to-day tasks are not affected. And to do that, I have learned to use to-do lists very efficiently. I use Jira tasks to keep track on how much time I'm spending on each project. And often it could also lead to burnout because I'm dealing with so many different I'm dealing with so many different roles. So I have learned to just take quick breaks, maybe a snack break, just spend some time thinking and not staring at the computer. So that has helped.
Yeah, I think it's important to take care of yourself. We definitely do not want the burnout. So please do take time for yourself. Everybody, that's probably for me the most important to keep a work-life balance. Or sometimes I like to say, work is my life, but really give time to yourself, taking care of you both physically and mentally. Annika, I'm looking at you. I want to ask you this. What role does mentorship playing in supporting women in AI, and then how you look at it?
Yeah, so as someone who's just sort of starting my career in this field, I found mentorship really helpful. I really love the opportunities I've had to work in the office where I can more closely collaborate with people who are individual experts in areas that intersect with my work, but I might not know as much about. And I've also really appreciated the mentorship I've had from various senior colleagues that expose me to different strategies and tools that help me be a better software developer overall that I can continue into future roles.
Thank you. Thank you. I think that's extremely important for all of us, no matter what career stage we're in, having a mentor or having a lot of mentors, right? So I think we're going to wrapping up our discussion pretty quick. But I want to thank all of you sharing your experience and insights today. One of the most powerful things for us, we all can do as women in AI, it's really to support each other and uplift each other through mentorship, leadership, and open conversations like this, what we just had, right? So to close today's session, I would love for each of you to share one piece of advice for women looking to build a career in AI, whether they just starting, out or just looking to grow into leadership roles. What is the one takeaway you want to leave them with? Let's start with Kim.
In one sentence, I guess I would say roll with the twists, stack your skills, and hustle through the challenges.
Thank you. Natalia?
Hard to choose one, but I want to demystify maths and physics and technical careers. It's not that hard. Maybe you're just having like the bad tools to learn them. And I don't like when people are like, oh, this is too hard for me, and they stop trusting in themselves. They are not that hard. It's okay when you say, I don't like them, I don't want to do them, but don't stop yourself trying to enter that space and just checking if it's for you. If you want to check that space, even you can come to me. I just want to say it like out loud. Mentorship is hard to find, so that's my piece of advice.
Thank you. Gautami?
This is specifically for the women engineers or software engineers as a whole. So if you're trying to build an AI-related product, always think about the bigger picture. Think about the feature you're building today. How does it align in the entire product's roadmap? And always do not over-engineer the problem. Think about if it's actually bringing value or not. That's my advice.
Thank you. Thank you. I want to add on that, just to follow your heart, right? Follow your passion. Don't have too many thoughts. Don't put too much thoughts. So Taylor?
I think I have two things. One, don't sell yourself short. And then the second is to build community. One of the most valuable things to me in my transition were the people who had done it before me, who I reached out to, whether I knew them or whether it was a cold message on Instagram, and they took the time, or not Instagram, LinkedIn, and they took the time to talk to me about their career path. That was probably the most valuable part of my transition. So it's not weird. Feel free to message me if you want to talk about it on LinkedIn, not Instagram, and I would love to chat.
Thank you. Definitely use the tools out there, right? LinkedIn. Annika?
Yeah, I would say don't be afraid to ask questions, whether it's when you're trying to understand the parameters of a project and you just want to understand it as well as you can, or whether it's something about curiosity in the field, something new has come up and you want to understand it better. Just keep asking questions.
Thank you. Thank you. Never be shy, right? So again, I want to thank all of you for your time to join today's discussion. Let's continue to pushing AI forward with diverse voice and leadership. With that, I'm going to close today's panel and stay tuned for what's coming next.
Thank you.